Thank you, George. I'll go ahead and get started just introducing myself. My name is Mazin, and I am a community scientist at Biobus. Ashley's going to talk to you a little bit more about what Biobus does, but we're mainly located in New York City. I am an entomologist, but I have a background in agricultural sciences, and so when bugs and soil come together, that just makes me very happy. So that's me.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley Pirovano. I am also a scientist at Biobus. The type of science that I do is plant biology and biotechnology. So soils are very near and dear to my heart as well. So we're going to be talking to you a little bit today about how we incorporate soil into the programs that we do at Biobus as a means of getting students excited about science and empowering them to kind of make change in their communities. So Biobus is a nonprofit science outreach organization in New York City. Our mission is to help students who have historically been excluded from STEM, whether that's for reasons of race or income or gender, help them to discover, explore, and pursue science. So what we're trying to do is just make science accessible to everyone. And we do that in a couple different ways. Here you could see a picture of one of our mobile science laboratories. So inside of this Airstream is a fully decked out microscopy lab. So we bring research grade equipment to schools and community centers in New York City. With our mobile laboratories, we have the potential to be everywhere. But at Biobus, we've realized the best way to do this kind of outreach is by building and sustaining relationships. So what we do is work closely with our target communities. So our communities that we work with right now are Harlem in New York City, the South Bronx, and the Lower East Side. And I am currently in our community laboratory space that we call Biobase Harlem. So let me tell you a little bit about the types of programs that we do. So at Biobus, we work to we work closely with our communities by also kind of building science communities in which we can grow our students' science identities. So the way this works is we will do a short Discover program, we call it, to just get kids excited about science and hungry to do a little bit more. And then hopefully a small group of those students will join us for an Explore class in which they can get a little bit more into the content, get a little bit more in depth, start kind of building their own confidence in their skills and critical thinking and science. From there, students can join our Pursue programs, which are paid internships for high school students, where they work with us to conduct their own research experiments. And so through this, they build their own science networks and they kind of gain confidence in themselves as scientists. So I just wanted to give you a couple of examples of how we incorporate soil science into each one of those program types. So we'll start with our Discover programs. So our junior scientists actually brought up this idea of doing a curriculum about George Washington Carver, because he actually made the first mobile science laboratory. So first, this is important because we're highlighting the work of a Black scientist. So representation is incredibly important, especially in the communities that we're working with. And George Washington Carver was born a slave and became a really impactful agricultural scientist. And not only was he very successful, but he also was able to share his science with his community, with the first mobile science lab, the Jessup Wagon, and he shared how to farm sustainably. So in this lesson, the students learn about a scientist of color, They learn his story, and then they also learn a little bit about sustainable farming and use our microscopes to kind of explore what makes good soil. What are some of those tiny players in the soil that can help it to be more sustainable and healthy?
And some of our Explore programs, like Ashley said, are a little more long-term, where students either adapt a project or get more in-depth with a topic. And the way that we incorporate the topic of soils, this is just an example, is in our Soils, Our Ecosystems project. So middle school students and high school students explore their local soil, so soil around their neighborhood soil and community gardens. And they do that by characterizing soil properties in our lab. So they do chemical and physical profiles of soil, and they also build these cute little funnel traps to extract arthropods from the soil, and they use our microscopes, and they build reports of what they found and what that might mean for soil health. And here's some pictures of Andre, one of our long-term students, doing some chemical analysis. And then kids 2 years ago, before COVID, went to the New York City Composting Center to do some work. So that was very cool.
Yeah, another program and another Explore program that we did in Harlem was the neighborhood soil science class, where students brought in soil from their homes, wherever that is. And each week they would investigate a new thing about their soil. So chemical, physical, biological properties. And then at the end, this all kind of culminated in the students participating in a citizen science project in collaboration with Barnard College and Columbia, where they measured the lead or potential lead contamination in soils in Harlem, specifically at one of the local churches and at one of the community centers here. And this was a really kind of powerful day for them to see that they can add to science. It's not just a thing that they learn, like they can add to this larger thing and improve their own ecosystem.
And last but not least, our paid internships. The way that I've incorporated soil science, that Ashley and I have incorporated soil scientists in our internships, is partnering with community gardens. We usually we interview garden members about their soil, what they need to know, what they want to do, how they want to work with their soil, and we design a research project around those needs. And it also has to do with studying compost chemical properties in community gardens, soil biodiversity, like Ashley said, getting a little bit more deeper at the research level in measuring the effects of soil lead contaminations, for example, on plants, not only soil itself. And something really important that our students do is that they conduct outreach to their communities. So they bring back what they find to their local community. And this is a huge component of that empowerment factor, and them becoming local agents of change in their community through science.
We just wanted to share some of the feedback from our students, because we find that that's the best way to know if we're doing a good job or not, is just to listen to what they're saying. So Duane was one of our students who participated in the neighborhood soil science class. And when we were heading out to do the lead testing, he said, it's like community service, but it's science. It's community science. And Abigail is a student who did a composting class with me. That's her over here with her worms. She was obsessed with them. I think that one was named Jessica. So she said after our second day of class, I told my mom to pick me up after 5 today because we're doing worm science, like so serious about it. And then Dharma, who was, I think he was an explorer, right? He did a soil science class with us, and he said it's like the soil is alive. So this just, I think it's really powerful that these students are starting to gain like a sense of responsibility and like ownership for the soil and recognizing its importance to their community and to themselves.
And a huge part of why we wanted to share this with you is because we're always in need of scientists, and Ashley and I, who pioneer these soil science curricula, are always in need of scientists like you to get involved with us. So how can you get involved? We have a community science fellowship where you can actually get paid to learn how to do outreach, to learn how to develop curricula, to get involved with younger students. You can volunteer in any of the programs that you heard in this talk, and there are more programs to volunteer at and work with students. And volunteering looks like either helping us writing curricula, mentoring students in their soil science projects, coming and talking to students about the soil science that you do in our meet a scientist sessions. And there's more ways, but these are kind of the main ones. And you can reach out to us anytime because we are always in need of scientists to come and talk to students. And that's actually my alarm of the 10 minutes. Let me turn this off. If we can actually have one minute, Ashley and I wanted to show you what one of our programs in the use of the microscope. George asked us to come with images, and we decided to come actually with live images. So during the pandemic, some of our programs, well, all of our programs had to go remote, and the way that we were doing that is all of our scientists had microscopes at home, and we were keeping all sorts of fun samples, to the horror of our roommates and partners, in our houses, so that we can show our students and have them do some microscopy exploration.
Yeah, luckily my partner is also a scientist, so I can giant Madagascar hissing cockroaches at home, but I know that's not the case for most people. All right, so what's gonna happen is, instead of seeing my face, I don't know if I'm still spotlit, but we might wanna-
I'll spotlight you.
Oh, thank you. So instead of seeing my face, you're about to see what is under the microscope. So let me just focus that for you. Whoa. Okay, so now you're all in the shoes of our scientists. So what I want you to do is start making some observations. Let me know what you see. What do you notice? What are you curious about? Put it in the chat, and maybe George can read it out to us. Springtails, how do you know, Tatiana?
USI mascot.
Let's see, what else do we notice? Ooh, we're a little blurry over here. I see a bigger guy. Oh yeah.
Huge. What is
What
that?
is that?
Enormous.
Oh, he's on the move.
Was that a potato bug or one of those bugs? What was that?
Looks like a pill bug to me, no?
Yep.
Oh, and I had an angry ant, but it escaped on me finally.
So during the pandemic, a lot of what we did was engage students in soil science through these live microscopy sessions, where they would make observations, they would make hypotheses, we would tell them where we got the sample from, they would interpret what they were looking at and what that means for the soil science content that we were going through.